Life can be very complicated. It can seem that there are so many goals to reach and things to get before you can be happy. Therefore, it's very natural to want to simplify life. This is part 3 of a 4-part series on how to successfully do that. And what I'm sharing here is by far the best way I've found of doing that. We're continuing to unlock simplicity by focusing on an understanding of the human mind. So it's relevant to anyone who has a human mind. And if that sounds a bit complicated, don't worry, it's actually much simpler than that. And the practical impact of this understanding is that you'll be able to find the happiness that you're looking for. Now, when we say happiness, when we use that word, what exactly are we talking about? Let's say that happiness is the experience of feeling happy. And it's something you're already familiar with. If you weren't, you wouldn't really know that you wanted more of it. So we're looking for more of the experience of feeling happy. Now, the common view on how to achieve that is based around reaching goals, having things you aim for and then you acquire, achievements that you make, experiences that you have like travelling, holidays, people that you bring into your life or possibly exclude from your life. It's essentially a formula for accumulation. And that is very much what I saw as being the way to organise life for many, many years. And it was almost like a shopping list approach. You know, certain things needed to be ticked off my list so that I could be happy. And what actually happened was that the results were very, very patchy. And it highlighted, I think, something we're all, again, familiar with, is this sort of fading effect we get with goals. You know, we can work for a goal for a long time, possibly years, and then find that when we reach it, any happiness that we feel is fleeting. And we feel then we've got to set new goals. And life becomes a complicated pursuit of goals. And the other thing that it can do is when we try reconfiguring our list and we still don't get to feel happy like we want to, we then can easily fall into the idea that there's something wrong with us and we have to improve ourselves. And of course there's a whole range of methods and offerings, and you know, the field of self-help is enormous, offering to help you improve yourself. And I also went down that track for many years too. But the understanding of the human mind that we're looking at here, and indeed this whole series is focused on, takes a radically different view, and in my experience is much more truthful to reality and much more successful in leading us to the happiness that we really want. So we've said, haven't we, that happiness is the experience of feeling happy. So let's just remind ourselves here of something that we've already touched on several times in this series, which is the question, where do feelings come from? And the understanding of the human mind we're basing this round will point us to the fact that feelings come from thinking, come from our thinking. So whatever thinking we have going on creates a feeling. So put simply, if we've got happy thinking going on, then we feel happy. And if we have other types of thinking going on, we feel differently. We don't feel happy. We feel something else. Now, before you leap to the conclusion that means we've got to control our thinking, because if we just manage to hold on to the happy thoughts and manage to keep out the other types of thoughts, then we're going to feel happy, aren't we? Well, I would very much caution you against that, because that is another route into deep complexity, because you end up having to try and manage your thinking. And good luck with that. It's very, very hard work, and it won't succeed for any length of time because it just becomes overwhelming. But we don't have to do any of that. And this is the really good news, because feeling happy, having happy feelings, is actually our default setting. The human mind is designed in such a way that when we're not driving it in a different direction, it will automatically settle in that happy arena. So, if you like, happiness is our home. It's the natural place that we return to when we're not somewhere else. Now, of course, we don't deliberately make ourselves unhappy. Far from it. You know, we're all looking for happiness one way or the other. In fact, many of us regard that as pretty much the ultimate success in life. So, knowing that when we're not innocently blocking the feelings of happiness because our mind is preoccupied with thoughts that bring different feelings, then we will return to that feeling of happiness. And this is, of course, why sometimes we get these rather otherwise inexplicable experiences when we seem to feel happy for no reason. Have you had things like that? You know, I can remember many actually, but one particular one comes to mind now, which is I was just waiting for a train one very wet morning. It was pouring with rain. I was trying to shelter at this station, and I just suddenly became overwhelmed with a wonderful feeling of happiness. And yet there was nothing around that would suggest a cause for that. And of course, now we can see that it's not the context, it's not the surroundings that create the happiness, it's the thinking we have going on. So again, another question might pop up. Well, okay, I'm not feeling happy, so what do I do? Well, two things. First of all, knowing that happiness is your default setting, if you like, your home, your natural place that you'll come back to. Even just knowing that is very powerful, because when you're not feeling happy, you know that it's not you've got to go chasing after some goal, or you've not got to fix yourself. It's just a question of when your thinking moves on, and it will do, because again we've mentioned this before, how thinking will naturally flow. Thinking only gets stuck in our mind when we give it lots of attention. So if we withdraw our attention from what is going on in our mind, or give it less oxygen of attention, then it will fade and be replaced by something else. You know, it's a bit like, I suspect again you've had this experience, if you're talking to somebody perhaps at a social event, a party or something, and the conversation is you're just not really interested. You know, you just can't get into this conversation with this person. You just withdraw your attention, don't you? You just sort of politely, perhaps as you can, you withdraw your attention. And although the other person might keep talking for a little while, they get that vibe from you, and they will generally stop too. So it's a little bit like that. Withdrawing attention is not doing more of something, it's doing less of something. So going back to goals then, please don't think here I'm saying don't have goals. I mean, you can have whatever goals you choose, of course you can. There's nothing wrong with wanting certain things in life. You know, a nice house, or a car, or a holiday somewhere, or whatever it is you choose. But that isn't going to make you happy, because that isn't how happiness arises. So if you set a goal with that in mind, you could set it for other reasons. It could be just you're curious to visit a particular place, or that you want a better house because you need more room for a hobby or family, or for some reason. But knowing that whatever goals you set, or indeed don't set, happiness is independent of that, means that we haven't got this sense that we've got to work at goals and put lots of time and effort in so that we can be happy. We can be happy first. So this is again an interesting conclusion you can come to, which is when you actually are feeling happy or feeling happy more often, having happy feelings more often, then achieving goals, working towards goals is easier. Partly because you're not getting in your own way with other types of thinking, and because your mind is clearer, you'll see more quickly and more intelligently what to do to achieve those goals. So rather than achieving goals creating happiness, it's actually happiness helps you achieve goals. So it's back to front from what we're commonly led to believe. So I'm going to suggest there that you reflect on this. You can obviously replay the video if you want to at any time. Just to remind you that parts 1 and 2 of this series are already available, and the links are in the description. Part 4 will follow soon, and I'll put the link in this description when that is released. So I'll see you next time.